So despite being a history major, I didn't actually take a lot of women's history classes in college. It's just not really something which popped up for me, unfortunately. So I'm really glad when movies like this come out because it's like taking a course in about 2 hours. Hello once again, watchers of Good Movies. My name is Nick Pell, and this is once again coming from my apartment. Now today we're going to be talking about the film Suffragette. This film is about women in London in 1912 trying to get the right to vote, and this was a huge movement and one of the first women's suffrage movements which really took place in the Western world. For those of you curious, like I was before seeing this film, a suffragette is what women called themselves when they were part of this cause, this rebellion of sorts, in order to try to acquire this right to vote. And it's just kind of what they were known by, and so thus the title of the film. Carey Mulligan is the main centerpiece of this movie, and she plays a woman who we get to really see transform throughout this film. I thought that she had a really good character arc. We're introduced to her just as this woman who has accepted her place in the world as a wife and as a laborer who is going to do twice as much work as men and get paid half as much. She's just kind of accepted this role in her life, and you get to kind of see just how much she does in her day-to-day life and just isn't completely appreciated for it. And I would assume that that's a really good example of kind of what women went through during this time period. They worked their asses off and they didn't really get appreciated for it. And so when she starts to get involved in this women's movement, this suffrage movement, she kind of just becomes entwined in it, and it starts to appeal to her, and you just kind of see her gradually become this timid housewife into this person who's willing to starve herself for the cause of this movement. And it's just a very cool character because it's very believable, and you see just all the atrocities which are happening and that men are just able to get away with during this time period, including rape and just beating on women for no reason, and taking away a mother's child from her if the father doesn't think that she's a good fit for the child. It's just these things which are so entirely messed up to a large degree, just as we are seeing them now, and it's just it's really interesting to see that just in regards to how far we have come as a Western society in general in regards to women's rights and whatnot. Bonham Carter, she's also in this film. She plays kind of the leader of this group of suffragers during this time period. There was a bunch of people all over London and gradually all over the world which were fighting for these rights, and she was the leader of this little sect of it in London. And so you get to really see her kind of take charge and take place as a leader in this role, as opposed to kind of her other films that I haven't really seen her have that huge of a leadership role in. Meryl Streep is also in this film for about 10 minutes. I don't really know why they had her on the poster other than to just kind of sell the movie to people who know who Meryl Streep is and know her reputation as an actress. She's in the film for literally 10 minutes. Her presence is felt throughout the whole entirety of it because she is kind of this martyr per se who just is kind of the voice of the people, but she's in hiding, so she only comes out every so often, and she's just kind of the leader among the leaders and kind of whispering down to the followers and giving orders of how to win these rights for women. And so while her presence is felt, we do only see her for, like I said, about 10 minutes when she's giving a speech to a bunch of women, and that's it. That's all the presence that she has in the film. So that was a little bit disappointing for me. I thought she was going to have a much larger role in this whole process. I don't know how historically accurate this whole thing is. Like I said in the intro, I haven't really learned about this time period in history in regards to this specific event and the events which take place. So I don't know if half of this is made up. I don't know if 99% of it is true. I thought that the imagery in this film is also quite good because there's a scene where Carey Mulligan's character is talking about just all the abuses that women kind of have to go through and just the injuries that they have in this workshop that she works at, and including burns, cuts, just broken hands, stuff like that. And then in I think the next scene you see her just in like a sleeveless shirt, and you see this huge scar, this huge burn that's on her arm, which is never really mentioned, at least that I noticed, but you just kind of see that, and you see the reflection of just this pain that she's had to suffer through for the entirety of her life, pretty much. Yeah, you see that she also has these scars. It's not just things that she has witnessed. And so I thought that that was a really powerful moment because it puts her more in a relatable perspective in that regard. And then, as this is a biopic, I always like to see when they kind of show at the end, oh hey, this is what happened after these events. They do that to a degree. They don't focus exactly on these characters and what happened to them after the events of the film, but we do see kind of a general kind of timeline for how women's rights were established in London following the events of this film. So if they kept on going with that, it would have been a much longer film. I was engaged for the whole 2 hours that this thing ran for, but I think that if it had stretched it out even further, or even tried to cram in a bunch of stuff into those 2 hours to rush the film, it just wouldn't have had the same impact. I thought it was very well paced. I liked kind of how it opened up very slowly, and then once Carey Mulligan's character was just infected with this drive to help out the suffrage movement, it just kind of became a very fast-paced film, and it just caught my attention again after kind of a slow bit. But the ending does have this, it uses historical footage, which I always appreciate when films do, because it kind of is like, oh yeah, this stuff actually happened, and it's not just used for plot purposes. Guys, Suffragette, it's in limited release right now, so I don't know if it's in theater near you, but if it is, definitely go check this film out. It is very, very well done. It tells the story very well. Again, no historical background knowledge for me, but as far as I could tell, it looked very, very realistic, very well done, and yeah, I found myself really enjoying it. But those are just my thoughts, guys. Leave yours in the comments down below. Did you like the film as much as I did? Did you hate it more than I did? Let me know. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Once again, if you so choose, I appreciate it immensely. And as always, my people, my name is Nick Pell. And once again, keep on watching.